Friends, I create every video for several hours a day. Let's get 500 likes on this video. A French soldier stands by a dog sled pulling a cart with 4 Brandt pneumatic mortars. Prayer time, London. The year is 1970. In 1914, British soldier Henry Tandy, who among the ranks was awarded the largest number of medals during the First World War, walked past an unarmed and wounded Adolf Hitler lying in a ditch, but decided not to finish him off. Czechoslovak off-road passenger car Tatra V750. The car was created in 1935 to 1937. Arthur Young, in one of his later helicopter models, 1941. Gentlemen's outdoor games. William Rennie's family, curling, Swansea, Ontario. December 25, 1904. December 1927. A speed skater not too confident in his abilities compliments himself with a cushion on a strategic point in case of a fall. Women play hockey, circa 1912. Author, William James. Toronto. Mercedes-Benz Roadster V170 on the way from Nuremberg to Austria, 1938. Soldiers are learning to walk on prosthetics. The First World War. Budapest Hospital. 1937. After a 7-day strike, employees of the Woolworths department store in Detroit are celebrating their victory. They managed to raise wages by 20%, reduce the number of working hours to 40 per week, receive overtime pay, etc. Hello, Hollywood. Dorothy Dwan, the 1920s. Queen Elizabeth II and the Duke of Edinburgh watched the equestrian triathlon competition, 1968. Lifetime photo of Van Gogh, 1886. Vincent Willem van Gogh is a Dutch painter and graphic artist whose work had a significant impact on 20th century painting. The German gunsmith Andreas Schwarzlos and his Schwarzlos point, one of the first options on a wheeled carriage. In some U.S. cities, the ugly law, adopted in the 19th century, was in effect until the 1970s. According to this law, people with developmental disabilities were forbidden to appear in public. The Flying Miracle from Convair, 1947, is very rare for an aircraft combined with a car. Soviet soldiers stopped on the march to Berlin to watch acrobats perform, 1945. The German submarine U-118 washed ashore. Hastings, East Sussex County, United Kingdom. April 15, 1919. 2 children pose in front of a young photographer. London, Great Britain. The year is 1926. 9-ton steam fire truck Jumbo goes on a call, circa 1889. King Victor Emmanuel III of Italy stands on the stairs to match the height of his wife, 1915. The first female photojournalist is Jessie Tarbox. New York, early XX century. Making clay toys. Vyaka Province. The Russian Empire. The 1900s. Schoolboy Andrei Novikov gives an air raid alarm. Leningrad, 1941. The floating church of St. Nicholas the Wonderworker is the only ship in the Russian Empire that housed a full-fledged Orthodox church. He operated in the Caspian Sea in the 1910s. Krupp Factory, steam hydraulic press. Germany, 1928. The largest industrial concern in the history of Germany, officially established in 1860. 42nd Street, west view from 2nd Avenue. The second half of the 1930s. Demonstration to Hitler of the prototype of the 8.8 centimeters Raketenwerfer 43 Pupchen rocket-propelled grenade launcher. May 43rd. Slaves at the Vale do Paraíba coffee plantation near São Paulo, Brazil, 1882. A group of railway gendarmes with an officer on a bicycle trolley, the year 1890. This is an advertisement for the 1935 Plymouth model range, but photographer James Doolittle took the picture himself in 1934 on the eve of the start of sales. Filming location, Malibu, California. Railway in China, 1960. Now they occupy the first place in the world in terms of high-speed highways. 1895, loading grain from a granary into a barge, Chicago. Germans against Russian roads. Ukraine, 1942. This is not an Autobahn. Evacuation by Israeli soldiers of the Egyptian Air Force MiG-15 fighter jet that landed on Lake Bardaville, November 16, 1956. Sculptures for the German embassy in St. Petersburg. 1913, these statues did not stand on the roof of the embassy for long, until 1914. A wooden mock-up of a cannon in a false artillery position. A British soldier at a Vickers machine gun equipped with a kind of periscope for safe firing from trenches. The performance of the motorcycle police on Kaiser Franz Joseph Square, now Bibelplatz, on the day of the German police. Germany, Berlin, January 1939. Brazilian slave nanny with child, Salvador de Bahia, 1870. How to have fun in the past. An extreme student's game of drinking a glass with a straight razor held tightly to your throat, 1910. 3 women accused of witchcraft. China, 1922. Mexican President Porfirio Diaz stands next to the Aztec solar calendar, 1903. The calendar consisted of 18 months of 20 days. 5 days made up 1 week. To make the year correspond to the astronomical year, non-monthly days were added to it, 5 empty days. The Guinness World Record for childbearing belongs to a Russian peasant woman who lived 200 years ago. Fyodor Vasilyev's wife gave birth to 69 children in 27 births. She gave birth to twins 16 times, triplets 7 times, and 4 children each. Border guard dogs lined up for lunch, Finland. Christmas Paris of the 1900s. British soldiers in a captured German position near an Albrecht trench mortar. The most primitive design is a wooden barrel wrapped with wire, the absence of aiming devices, and the ignition of a propellant charge using a Bickford cord. 1933. William Christian Bullitt Jr., the first U.S. ambassador to the Soviet Union in Paris with his daughter before leaving for Moscow. The band of the British Army plays in front of the peasants, 1919, Russia, a combined band of 2 battalions of the Royal Fusiliers during the intervention of the Entente forces in northern Russia. Danil Ivanovich Kunin was a baker in besieged Leningrad who died of exhaustion on February 3, 1942, at the age of 59, right at work. He died, but did not eat a single gram of baked bread. How interesting it was to repair cars once. Studebaker in an auto repair shop, 1919. Children with a dog on the Coney Island beach, New York, 1905. Launching of the steamer Frank J. Pecker, St. Clair, Michigan, September 2nd, 1905. Fifth Avenue after a heavy snowfall, New York, 1905. Unloading a ship with bananas, New York, 1906. New York Traffic Police Parade. Mayor George McClellan gets out of his car in Union Square. The photo was taken on November 5, 1908. On the beach next to the casino, Asbury Park, New Jersey, July 11, 1911. The photographer shoots a threesome with a donkey. The woman is holding a sign with the inscription, "I could stay in Atlantic City forever." New Jersey, 1912. Doorman opens the door to a lady getting out of a Marmon car. A gentleman in a medical mask can be seen on the other side of the street. San Francisco, 1919. The lady with a phonograph. New York, 1921. American comedian, singer, theater, and film actress Fanny Brice. New York, 1922. One of the 900 personal radios at Walter Reed Hospital. Washington, D.C., 1924. Miss Elizabeth Ramey is the owner of a Ford car. The photo was taken for Ford Motor Company. Alexandria, Virginia, 1924. Harlan Randall, soloist of the Washington Opera, baritone. Subsequently, he became the head of the music department at the University of Maryland. The year is 1925. Actor Al Jolson, who starred in the first ever full-length sound film, The Jazz Singer. San Francisco, 1927. Girls walking ducklings in a horse trough. April, 1927. Imperial Air's Handley Page H.P.42 passenger plane refuels in Palestine. October, 1931. Newark train station waiting room, New Jersey. June 12, 1935. Displaced people with a broken wheel. A family with no money, no food, and only 3 gallons of gasoline in a tank on the road between Dallas and Austin, Texas. August 1936. A family fleeing a severe drought in Missouri is waiting for the start of the orange picking season in Porterville, California. November 1936. Girls with an Oldsmobile. The General Motors booth at the International Exhibition in San Francisco, 1939. Trailer park guests during a picnic on the beach. Sarasota, Florida, January 1941. In the black neighborhood of Chicago, July 1941. A street stall with magazines. Southington, Connecticut, May 1942. A woman and her son buy groceries at a cooperative store for workers. Greenbelt, Maryland, May 1942. 1915 New York subway fire under Broadway at West 55th Street. New York, circa 1905. Mulberry Street, the Italian Quarter with a street market. Chicago, circa 1900. 12th Street, Basque Bridge. Charleston, South Carolina, circa 1920. Street scene with horse and wagon. Cyclists make their way through the snow on the pass. Giro d'Italia, 1965. The Capitol, the U.S. Congress. Dome construction. Washington, USA, 1861. The whole family participates in harvesting cabbage for the winter. Russia, 1914. Ladies load Christmas purchases into a car with the help of a Whiteley's department store attendant. London, 1936. Public flogging according to Sharia law. Persia, Iran, the 1910s. Female archers at the London Olympics. Great Britain, 1908. Loading cakes into a passenger plane. USA, 1938. The player is a sample of the 19th century. Phonograph in Tonstad, Norway, the 1890s. The Guinness family, USA, 1963. Opposing team captains Norm Provan and Arthur Salmons hug after the 1963 Australian rugby final. The girls took advantage of the goods in a local wine shop, Lippstadt, Germany, 1945. A lacemaker at work. The Russian Empire, 1900s. A group of hockey players from Tramore, County Waterford, March 24, 1904. Grand Duchesses Olga and Tatiana bind up a wounded soldier in the Tsarskoye Selo Infirmary, 1916. John F. Kennedy is a Harvard graduate, USA, 1940. St. Andrew's Church in Kyiv, the oldest photo is from 1852. Professor of Archaeology Hiram Bingham, who served as the prototype of Indiana Jones, 1912. Women learned to drive a tram on a simulator due to the shortage of men, England, 1915. Russian Empress Maria Feodorovna with her eldest son Nicholas, the future Emperor Nicholas II, 1870. 5 girls and a Scotsman. London, 1927. Mao Zedong relaxing on the beach with his wife Jiang Qing and children, Beidei Qin Huangdao, 1954. A Human Orchestra, England, 1953. René Lacoste is the winner of 7 Grand Slam tennis tournaments. He started producing his own clothing line in 1933. Workers are cleaning the horse statues at the top of the Wellington Arch, London, January 17, 1939. The elephant stops the tram to eat an apple from the driver. Grayson Road, London, December 1936. The Brooklyn vampire, Albert Hamilton Fish, is the most feared murderer in the history of the United States. He chose only children as victims, whom he killed and ate. Female police officers of the city of Preston are trying to fix a police car. The year is 1940. A little girl and her pet at an animal show, California, USA, 1936. Franklin Tini, an American of Italian descent, was born with 3 legs of different lengths and 2 sets of genitals due to an underformed twin brother. This did not stop him from learning how to play football and ride a bike, and then becoming a circus performer, marrying and raising 4 healthy children. Underwater work during the construction of the Yenisei River Bridge, 1896. London police officers during a training exercise, 1935. Ordinary Americans are photographed with the body of the famous criminal bank robber John Dillinger, displayed in a morgue for the audience after his execution, 1934. Friedrich Nietzsche in a psychiatric hospital, 1899. Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche is a German philosopher, composer, cultural critic, and philologist whose works have had a profound impact on modern philosophy. Sherry Britton is an American burlesque star of the 40s, the owner of a figure for which you can die. Height, 160 centimeters, waist, 46 centimeters. Soviet T-34 tank, camouflaged at the edge of the forest. Colleen in front, 1942. Farmers treat soldiers returning from the front at the North Platte Station in Nebraska, 1945. Geronimo and his warriors. Geronimo is a military leader of the Chiricahua Apache, who for 25 years led the fight against the U.S. invasion of his tribe's land. In 1886, he was forced to surrender to the American Army. German Field Marshal General August von Mackensen, wearing a Totenkopf, skull, and crossbones hat, which has been part of the German military costume since the 18th century. The opening ceremony of Bromma Airport in Sweden in 1936 with the German Junkers G-38, which was the largest aircraft in the world at the time of its creation, except seaplanes. The Brooklyn vampire, Albert Hamilton Fish, is the most feared murderer in the history of the United States. He chose only children as victims, whom he killed and ate. Stalin and Churchill at the Levadia Palace during the Yalta Conference, February 1945. The world's oldest war shot. General Wool with his officers on K. Real Street in Saltillo, Mexico, 1847. A yellow taxi in pre-war Manila, 1940. St. Petersburg. View from the garden located on the roof of the Europa Hotel, 1910 to 1914. Staged photo of British war propaganda. Readers continued to visit the library after it was bombed. London, 1940. In 1896, the Daimler Motorengesellschaft plant in Cannstatt, Germany, produced the world's first truck for horsepower 1,500 kilograms. A difficult childhood in the American Baltimore of the early 20th century. Surveyors, the end of the 40s of the 20th century. April 9th, 1941. The shot was taken by Lieutenant Malindon from the Grenadier Regiment during tests of a new device for firing a Thompson submachine gun on the move. 1860, the Fire Brigade, Helsinki. 1945, Republic P, 47 Thunderbolt fighter bomber equipment. Participants of the first Winter Olympic Games, French figure skaters André Joly and Pierre Bournet, 1924. A bus whose body was specially designed so that it could pass through the North Bar Gate in Beverley, East Yorkshire, England, 1959. The car is a submarine that can travel both on land and underwater and is equipped with a 4-horsepower 1937 engine. The German population, who became victims of ethnic cleansing in Czechoslovakia, is heading to Liberec Station, July 1946. Not everyone reached. Many were killed as a result of attacks and reprisals by the Czechs. Salvador Dali signs books. Photo by Philip Halsman using a fisheye lens, New York, 1963. The old Wembley Stadium with its twin towers, London, Great Britain, 1947. The American Indian Eagle Arrow. The picture was taken in the early 1900s. The Union of German Students burns anti-German books, 1933. New York at the beginning of the 20th century. A Canadian soldier examines a tactical shelter garage for a German self-propelled mine. The snake charmer in China. Ku Klux Klan members on the Ferris wheel. USA, 1926. John F. Kennedy with his daughter Caroline, USA, 1957. The first biker with an official license, Washington, USA, 1937. A girl prays in an orphanage, USA, 1947. A fisherman in Istanbul, 1930s. Beer peddlers at Oktoberfest, Munich, 1928. The first woman to appear in the photograph is Dorothy Catherine Draper, who was photographed by her brother and famous American photographer John Draper in 1839. Mafia boss Frank Costello, New York, 1949. Manufacture of prosthetics for soldiers wounded in the facial region, 1918. Norma Jean Baker, an employee of the Van Nuys, California factory, who would soon become known as Marilyn Monroe. Sir Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill, war correspondent in South Africa, 1900. Sir Elvis Presley plays for his fellow soldiers while serving in the Army, 1959. Sad clown Emmett Kelly, in his makeup, walks with a bucket of water after a fire at the Hartford Circus on July 6, 1944, which killed at least 167 people. 1947, the British colony of Zanzibar. An exhausted babysitter with her ward named Farrokh Bulsara. A quarter of a century later, this boy took the pseudonym Freddie Mercury. Law professor Roger Fisher suggested that nuclear missile launch codes be implanted in a volunteer's heart. A president who decides to start a war will first have to personally kill and dissect an innocent person before making a decision about the lives of millions of people. Transport Gendarmerie, 1890. Rail Zeppelin, built in Germany back in 1930. To save rails and wheels, the Brennan gyroscopic machine was developed in 1909. Women from the holy and undivided trinity of Kassel Rising Society drink tea. The society was founded in 1610 and was a nursing home for ladies. England, the 1920s. John Quincy Adams is the 6th President of the United States. The photo was taken in 1843 after he left office. The first photo of the president. The disaster occurred in 1908. On board were pilot Thomas Selfridge and inventor Orville Wright, who managed to survive. Kansas, 1884. The shot was taken by a local farmer at a distance of almost 23 kilometers from the tornado. The first photo of a tornado. Veterans of the Mexican Revolution of 1911 to 1917. United Mexican States, 1977. Irish Elsie Connor, boxing champion, New York, 1931. An awkward moment in Los Angeles, USA, 1959. Tenzing Norgay and Amund Hillary are the first conquerors of Mount Everest. May 28, 1953. Walking the Mummies, Venzone, Italy, 1950. Hoping to shame the orangutan for being overweight and put on a diet, Bill Peckett, the London Zoo monkey keeper, shows Mr. Jiggs that his waist circumference is 119 centimeters. The German Wonder Waffle, Faust patron mounted on a donkey, the 1940s. Uma Thurman's mother, Nina von Schlebrug, 1958. The first Christmas tree at the Rockefeller Center in New Security guards at the courthouse during the trial of John Dillinger. 1934. Friends, don't forget to subscribe. This is very important to me, and I feel more motivated to create such videos.